Storm Team Weather Center here on this March 2nd, 2023, the 11th anniversary of the March 2nd tornado outbreak, especially what was known as the Henryville tornado. And then tomorrow we are going to focus on severe weather threats over our area. Right now, the severe weather threat for tonight is off to the southwest, where there have been a number of tornado warnings in northeastern Texas and a very impressive squall line with winds in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour. So we're going to get going. We're going to really dig into the severe weather risk. And even if we don't have a severe thunderstorm in your area tomorrow, it's going to be extremely windy throughout much of the day. And that's why we have a rare high wind warning. And a really impressive low pressure system is going to be moving into our area. And by the lower the pressure of a storm system, the stronger it is. And this storm system's pressure is going to go very, very low. It's almost like borderline hurricane strength, low pressure. Very strong, very rare for this time of the year and for our area. So with that said, we have a lot to cover here. If you have questions, I'm going to be looking at comments on my Meteorologist Ben Pine Facebook page, so if you want to go there, because we are streaming this out to YouTube and some other spots. So I'll be trying to take a look at some comments, some questions along the way. We'll spend some time with this here. It is at 9:49 on this Thursday evening, and I want to make sure audio is looking good. All right, audio is good. We've got Beverly Haggis tuning in here tonight, and Bonnie Lindberger, thanks for watching. And we've got Kelsey Anderson asking about Scottsburg, Indiana. Scottsburg, Indiana, I think some really high winds. And really any specific area is going to get a similar response from me. Be ready for severe weather. And to really simplify this is because I've been asked today, let me go back to this camera. I've been asked, is the tornado threat going to go up this much, or is the high wind going to go up? Is it more dangerous? And really all that matters with any potential outbreak of severe weather is that you have your plan in place, have some stuff in that safe place to keep you safe, first aid, safety kit, maybe some snacks, pillows, blankets, candles, batteries, charged cell phone, have all your plan ready to go. And then during that time frame we're going to tell you about, late morning, early afternoon tomorrow, if a warning is issued for your area, simply, calmly go to that safe place, wait it out, and then once it's done, you can head back out. So there are a lot of ways you can get your alerts. Make sure, again, that cell phone's charged, the alerts are on. Weather radio, fresh batteries, good idea, plugged in case the power goes out. And then if you can't watch TV, hopefully you can catch us. We'll be live streaming WHS11.com on our WHAS11 app. So many ways to keep informed when locally it gets a lot more important during these fairly rare events. And as I said on my last post on Facebook, really hope that we're wrong about this one, that it's a dud. But all the data suggests that this is a pretty potent storm system, got a ton of jet stream energy. If some of that jet stream energy gets to the ground, we're going to have some damaging wind gusts across much of Kentuckiana. And I was talking to the head of the National Weather Service here in Louisville, John Gordon. I was like, this area of low pressure and the low-level jet looks quite a bit similar to the remnants of Ike back in 2008, and we know all the power outages that it did. Every storm system is different. Now, Ike came through with sunny skies, and the sunshine created currents that allowed those winds to come to the ground. So we had a couple hours with sustained winds over 50, wind gusts 75 during Ike back in 2008. So obviously, all storms are different. I'm just saying this thing is a juiced up storm system, and we just need to be prepared. That's a big takeaway. Sam Connor's asking, for low pressure, what should a barometer read? 29.93 is standard pressure on a lot of barometers that you buy. We go by millibars, which is 101.3 standard pressure. This is going to get pretty deep. But this area of low pressure could go down as low as, I think, 988 millibars. Very, very low. So just think very strong storm system, very close to our region. Jill Riverman, no, I'm not stressed. I'm chilling, just trying to get your information to you. Lisa Cutter asking what time is the bad weather. The worst of it is going to be like 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. as far as severe storms and a tornado risk. However, it's going to be very windy throughout pretty much all the morning. High wind warning starts at 7 a.m. and southern Indiana is going to get the bulk of the really heavy rainfall. So the potential of localized flash flood warnings in southern Indiana is pretty high. We could see 3 to 5 inches of rainfall over southern Indiana. Okay, I'll try to get to some more questions in a minute. Let's go ahead and dig in. We're going to look at all the Futurecast maps, and we'll go over some safety items. And but we're going to kind of boil this down. We're going to marinate the information right here. We're going to go full screen. So kind of the bottom line graphic right here is the main severe weather window for severe storms, the squall line, with maybe embedded spin-up tornadoes, 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. But even without thunderstorms tomorrow, winds are going to be very strong at times. Non-thunderstorm wind gusts could be over 60 miles per hour just because of the strength of the low-pressure storm system. That could lead to some scattered power outages. If we get more wind on the ground that's just above us, then there could be widespread power outages. Just kind of wait and see. Isolated tornado threat and the potential for some flash flooding as well. So we have the high wind warning, which is pretty rare to have. It does not happen very often, maybe like once every couple years. We've had a couple this year. That's 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. Gusts could be, again, over 60 miles per hour. A severe thunderstorm warning is typically issued when we expect wind gusts over 60 miles per hour. Now, the National Weather Service is going to do something a little bit different tomorrow since there is a high wind warning. The high wind warning is going to cover over 60 mile per hour wind gusts. So severe thunderstorm warnings are not going to be issued until winds are expected to be over 70 miles per hour tomorrow. So typically, the National Weather Service will issue severe thunderstorm warnings when the winds are over 60. But since we have a high wind warning anyway, they're going to wait and issue severe thunderstorm warnings when the winds are over 70 miles per hour. Yes. That's the kind of situation we're dealing with. Flood watch. Tonight through...
I'm Doug Prophet. The WHS 1119 is next. The severe weather storm system will be here in the morning. A high wind warning, torrential rains, possible tornadoes, and power outages. School systems across Kentuckiana are already canceling or moving to NTI tomorrow, next on the 19th.
Doug Prophet's got something here, some work, and I'll be right back.
Hello everybody, I'm Doug Prophet. Don't go to bed without checking in on the WHS 1119 at 11. The severe weather threat is very real for the morning hours tomorrow. High wind warning, torrential rain, possible tornadoes and power outages. School systems across Kentuckiana canceling or moving to NTI already tomorrow. And then new at 11, a man hired to paint a house says the SWAT team raided the place looking for another person, but instead wrongfully handcuffed him, his girlfriend, and a 10-year-old. After a lengthy lawsuit, how the jury ruled on the 19th.
So as Doug just mentioned, there's been several school districts that have decided to go to e-learning tomorrow, like my kid's school. So I don't think it's a bad decision since we've got that option these days. Just saw a question from Therese Stinson, Hart County ? So again, entire area needs to be weather aware, alert tomorrow. Heed the warnings. If an alert is issued for your area, seek shelter immediately. That's just the best advice I can give for the entire WHAS 11 viewing area. If you get our signal, be ready for that threat of severe weather, especially 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. With that said, tomorrow early morning, probably before sunrise, let's say 6 o'clock in the morning, there are going to be some areas of very heavy rainfall, lightning and thunder and gusty winds, but the severe weather threat during that time period is low. Just have to watch out for ponding of water on roadways and maybe some minor flooding in the early morning hours. All right, let's move on here to the next weather graphic. This is the risk outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. The Storm Prediction Center is a division of the National Weather Service that their one big job is to look across the United States and see where severe weather might happen. They also issue the severe thunderstorm and tornado watches. They have our area under level 2, mainly southern Indiana, north of I-64, and level 3, much of Kentucky, out of the 5 severe weather risk categories. So it doesn't really matter what color you're in here. All the area, again, has a risk of some severe storms and flooding and high winds. Tornado warning, safety, find sturdy shelter away from doors and windows. Get out of the mobile home. Please find a sturdier shelter before, like during that watch. If a watch is issued, know that try to spend time in a friend's house, family, somewhere you can go, library, wherever it is, where you can wait it out for maybe a couple hours and then head back home. Severe weather safety kit, first aid, flashlight, candles, charge cell, all good things to have. You can grab some pillows, blankets, anything that can potentially help you block any debris. Avoid flooded areas altogether. The water depth is unknown. 1 to 2 feet of flowing water can wash away vehicles. 6 inches of flowing water can knock you off your feet. Avoid flooded basements, and just don't go down there until you know the electricity is off. Okay, so here is where the severe weather is right now. You can see the big tornado watch in red down over much of Arkansas, northwestern Louisiana, northeastern Texas, exactly where the severe weather risk was forecast yesterday, exactly where there have been tornado warnings and a squall line. It is really impressive how big. Look at all orange, if you can see real closely there, those orange areas indicate severe thunderstorm warnings. So basically this entire line has a severe thunderstorm warning on it with the potential of wind gusts over 70 miles per hour. Strong squall line. And then this is a tornado warning right there. And earlier today, there were some reported tornadoes on the ground. This is going to look a little different for a second. I was going to put on the storm reports, and we'll exit out of that. So this is a look at some of the tornado touchdowns today. And again, a lot of this energy is going to be heading our direction. This is the parent storm that will be heading our direction. So again, that shows I see maybe a handful of tornado reports around that area. All right, let's go ahead and look at Futurecast here. We're going to have some light to moderate rain spreading in. This is as we approach midnight, so we're not going to be worried about this nighttime rainfall. But notice, let's go back a little bit here. Around 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, here comes a band of heavy rainfall on the nose of a low-level jet. So this is where the jet streams start to pick up, and the storm system is getting closer to our area. So initially, wet for everybody here early tomorrow morning. And then there's a dry slot basically south of 64. Notice here around 7 o'clock tomorrow morning through about mid-morning, although north of 64 still just soaking wet. So bigger concern of flooding over the northern half of the area. So there's all different types of weather hazards we need to cover here for tonight. And notice that this is 8 o'clock in the morning. Here's 9. And notice that rain just keeps continuing for southern Indiana. So that's where it's a big concern of flash flooding. But also notice, if you're southeast of Louisville, you've got some dry time. So flooding is not as big of a concern. However, in those areas, there might be some peaks of sun, and that can open up the channel of the low-level jet to the ground and give you some excessive wind gusts. Bad things can happen in both areas. Too much rain in one area, too much wind in another area. So that's why I'm saying it really doesn't matter where you're located in the entire viewing area. The threat exists. Several different weather threats exist for us tomorrow morning and into the early afternoon. So here is 11 o'clock. We're starting to ramp up the severe weather threat late morning. We're starting to see those darker red colors. So this is the actual cold front that's going to be coming through, and this is when the area of low pressure, the center of the whole storm system, is just out to our west. So there are some really incredible wind speeds just off the ground. And this is where it's nasty looking. You see that curvature right there into the parent storm system that's just to the west of Evansville. That's the center of the circulation of the area of low pressure. And then connected to that is that front, and that is a lot of curvature in the lower levels, a lot of wind shear, a lot of energy for the potential of some rotation and some spin-ups, tornadoes. Got to watch out there. So this is right around lunchtime, early afternoon, midday. So been very consistent here with the timing. It's a good thing when the weather models are consistent, even when they're showing something bad, because our confidence is going to go up so we can give you that time frame. Instead of saying, hey, watch out all morning long and into the mid-afternoon, we're saying about a 3-hour window right there where we have the biggest concern. All right, back to the full screen map. There's 1:30. Also, let's take tornado risk off there. Even if you don't get a tornado, if you get one of these storms, that is just an open channel to the jet stream winds to the ground, and you could get wind gusts over 70 miles per hour. Big problem, would cause power outages. All right, back to the full screen we go. And we're going to take this to 2:30. That's when we could get some size of relief that it is the severe weather threat is pretty much out of here, off to the east. We are left with just some drizzle and some breezy conditions after that. It's still going to be windy. We're still right next to the center of that low pressure storm system. So it is going to stay windy through the evening time, but we're way less concerned, obviously, of any severe weather. And then some cooler air begins to move in, some upper 30s, lower 40s into Saturday morning. And then Saturday afternoon, the winds die down to about like 5 or 10 miles per hour. Very peaceful weekend, upper 50s on Saturday, and then some 60s on Sunday. We've got the first leg of the Triple Crown of running, the 5K, Saturday morning at 8 a.m. It's going to be a little cool out there for that. We've got the Tailspin Ale Fest Saturday afternoon. So thankfully, the mess of the weather that's on the way will be heading out in time for some of those weekend events. Moving forward, look at this rainfall potential here. So this is adding up all the rainfall for Friday, and it is pretty impressive along and north of the Ohio River. It's showing 4 to 6 inch rainfall totals in southern Indiana. That means flash flood potential. And then even higher amounts out west towards Evansville. Look at those deep like blue colors, and that's the blue and the purple out west. That is over 6 inch rainfall totals. And then notice south of Louisville, you guys, let's say Bullitt County south, and south of the parkways especially, you guys are in that dry slot for longer, and so you're not going to get the continuous heavy rain like southern Indiana is going to get. All right, out there now, lower 50s. So for tonight, we've got the rain showers developing, cloudy, cool, upper 40s, severe weather not expected tonight, with some heavy downpours in the morning. So just be prepared for the heavy rain, the strong winds, potential severe storms. 66 our high temperature. Here's the 7-day. We're back to 60s and sunshine on Sunday, 70s on Monday. I don't see any severe weather threat next week. I do see dropping temperatures. In fact, long-range data suggests that we could go below freezing next weekend. That would be St. Patrick's Day parade time. So winter is not over with, even though we already have some leaves on the trees. We've got the flowers blooming. We've got the buds on the trees. And that can be an issue because a lot of the fruit crops out there, the vineyards, if the buds have already burst, then a freeze is very bad news as far as that goes. So we're looking at a pretty solid chance at a cold spell late next week. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind after all this talk of like spring-like severe weather we've been just talking about here. Let's go back to radar briefly. We'll wrap this up. So again, severe weather threat off to our south. Let's zoom into the radar to where we are at. So there's a look at the rain that is starting to slide our way from the west. The much heavier stuff is still off to our southwest. So that is heading our direction tomorrow morning and into the early afternoon. Amy Moore says crazy weather. Yes, indeed. I saw some data out there that storm systems with this low of pressure are like 1 in 30 years kind of thing. So very rare to have this strong of a storm system cross over our area. Jason Storm, minus the tornadoes, minus the severe weather, can these type of wind gusts create real threat to large trees falling? Yes, indeed, especially with soaking wet ground, kind of loosens up the dirt. Without thunderstorm, wind gusts over 60 can topple even some large trees. And sometimes trees look healthy and you don't know it, but there's a big gaping hole inside the tree and they can snap pretty easily. I've got a lot of trees around my house, so it's always a thought. Eric Wade, anything else you can think of to terrify me tonight? Well, like I said, this is one of the rare times. I hope that we're wrong about it. The only thing that could be in our favor is that the winds are so strong that the storms really can't get going. But even in that case, even a shower can bring down some really strong winds over 50, 60 miles per hour. So pretty high confidence we'll see some gusts over 50, even if you don't see a severe thunderstorm warning in your area. Kelly Jones, thanks for watching here. Zach Kamerer, are the winds going to get to 70? There's a decent chance we're going to have some scattered 70-plus mile per hour wind gusts around the area. Just looking over some more comments here. Don Bowling, thanks for watching. And if you're watching this stream from YouTube or another Facebook page, I'm looking at comments and answering them on my Meteorologist Ben Pine page because I can't have 20 windows open at one time. Doing my best here. Paula Barrett is preparing. Mark Graham, what about someone who works downtown Louisville on the 6th floor of a building? A lot of these downtown concrete buildings are really tough. Personally, I would not be concerned. I would want to get away from windows, though. Carolyn Callahan, could this be the potential of something like March 2nd? Now, again, the thing that's a little different here from March 2nd, the wind energy is so strong and the instability is not as strong. So every storm system's different. I don't see huge long track tornadoes if there's anything good out of this, but there could be several like smaller spin up tornadoes which can do quite a bit of damage. So I don't see this being a March 2nd outbreak. We're not under a high risk. We're not under a moderate risk at this time, although that could be upgraded. I would not be surprised. I'll go back to this graphic here. So we're in what's called an enhanced risk in Kentucky, slight risk in Indiana. That's level 3 out of 5. The next level up is a moderate risk. That only happens maybe a couple times a year, I'd say. And then a high risk is very rare. That's when you get the big, huge, severe weather outbreaks like Western Kentucky, like March 2nd. So we're not under a moderate, we're not under a high risk, but again, take thunderstorms off the table. Let's say you don't get a thunderstorm. Still just a ton of jet stream energy. Only about 5,000 feet above the ground, the winds could be in excess of 70 miles per hour. It's not that far off the ground as far as our whole atmosphere. You get some of that wind to come to the ground, and you're going to have straight line wind damage without thunderstorms. Just a really, really windy day. This has been the windy winter. We've had, I think, 7 wind advisories since December. This would be 8. It's kind of crazy, and it's because the jet stream's been flying right over the top of us. Instead of when we have a cold winter, the jet stream goes south of us, and that brings down the cold air, and you've got a peaceful day to play in the snow. It's not that windy because the jet stream energy is down to the south. When the jet stream goes north of us, it gets warm. Summertime, the jet stream's up in Canada. You've got very light winds, hot days. But what we've had this winter, instead of the jet stream going south of us and bringing us cold weather, obviously we've had top 5, top 10 warmest January, warmest February. We've had record highs quite a bit lately. We were 83 yesterday. So that means the jet stream is right on top of us, and we've got a lot of energy for wind, and that's why we've had a windy winter. And the orientation of the jet stream, in part because of the La Nina conditions that we've had. Michael Chumbly, good question. Will the severe weather threat be gone after 2? Yeah, after about 2:30, it looks like the bulk of the severe weather threat's off to the east-northeast. With that said, it's still going to be windy. We still have a high wind warning until 7 p.m. and a wind advisory that continues, I think, until 1 o'clock in the morning Saturday. So it's going to stay breezy all day long tomorrow. Just looking over some more comments here. A driving question. So that's a good question. Allison Walston asking, driving from Lebanon to Elizabethtown at 8 and driving back. So that's going to be rough driving. The worst driving is going to be east and west routes because the air is slamming into you from the southwest. Again, maybe gusting 40, 50, 60 miles per hour. High profile vehicles, very difficult. High wind warnings have knocked semis off the road before in this kind of situation. Very difficult driving on east to west and west to east routes in general. Driving is going to be difficult. You just have to really grip the steering wheel tight. Let me show you let me try to load up. I have to give me a minute here. I'm going to try to find a wind gust map. It's not a graphic I show all that often. So just 1 second. I think I'm about to find it. So again, a good time. Make sure everybody's got severe weather safety plan ready to go. Looking for the wind map. All right, let me see about this one, and then maybe one other one. Oh, it's not letting me do it. Let me see if I can load this thing up. That one's not showing it. I might have to punt on trying to show you the wind gust map here. Here's another one we're going to try to do. See if it's going out to the right time frame. All right, looks like it is. Okay, let me go full screen on this one. So wind gusts, since we had a question. The winds will pick up through the nighttime, so the winds aren't very strong right now. And then this is 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. We're starting to get wind gusts to 30. And then this is mid-morning. Notice the 50 gusts, Litchfield, Munfordville. And then we're getting after, 1, 2 o'clock. Keep in mind that these wind gusts are going to be variable, obviously. Take this a little bit of a grain of salt. But so this is wind gusts without thunderstorms. 60 in Bardstown, that shows 62 in Campbellsville. So 40 to 60 wind gusts on the ground here. This is not up in the air. This is on the ground wind gusts without thunderstorms. All right, then add thunderstorms into the picture, and then it's a lot worse situation. All right, let me bring this back up. Ellen Burton said, would love if schools would have a virtual day tomorrow. A lot of schools are having virtual day, including my kids' school. Jessica, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate you for watching. Taylor Hall, take a deep breath, eat. I know there's a lot of folks from severe weather events in the past that have a true fear of severe weather. Just know that even in the big outbreaks of severe weather, your chance of a tornado is still low. We just need to be prepared. And with no matter what the risk is, if there's ever a warning, seek shelter until it's over. Those warnings typically last about 15 minutes. Let it blow over. Hopefully you're still listening. And then what I try to do when we're covering severe weather, we call it wall to wall when we break into your programming. I really try my best to, like, when it's over, say, hey, you're in the clear now in Louisville, you're in the clear now here. So we'll do that. If we do have to break in to programming tomorrow, we will do our absolute best to make sure to ease your fears. Obviously, our number one goal is to tell you when that storm's going to hit your area, to put that storm track on there. That's number one. And then once the storm is gone, we like to tell you when you're free and clear and no more worries. So we're going to be tracking it very closely. We've got the whole storm team. We've got our storm chaser, John Humphreys. We've got storm team meteorologist Reed Yaden. They're going to be out chasing together. We're going to have our weather beast out there with storm team meteorologist Christina San Juan. Storm team meteorologist Alden German and myself. Alden will be running the radar along with me. I'll be at the wall if we need to cut in. We're going to be live throughout the noon show tomorrow. We also have crews that will be out there. Storm team meteorologist Sam Gabrielli will still be here from the morning time. So a lot of hands on deck tomorrow, and we're going to be watching it very closely. For anybody just tuning in, I'll go over kind of the bottom line graphics one more time, and then I need to get prepared for WHS 1119 here shortly. Back to graphics full screen. Okay, so main severe weather threat window. Still looks like 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Could that be adjusted a half hour, either way? It certainly could, but late morning, early afternoon, that looks like the bullseye time frame for severe storms. Going to be very windy before that and after that without thunderstorms. Damaging wind gusts, 60 to 70 plus miles per hour possible. That will cause power outages. Isolated tornadoes can't be ruled out, along with flash flooding. The flash flooding concern is especially in southern Indiana, where there's the potential for 4 to 6 inches of rainfall. All right, there you go. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in here tonight. I will see you in about 39 minutes on WHS 1119. We get brand new, fresh data into our Futurecast weather model right at about 11 o'clock. So it's always interesting to see that. It comes in every few hours. We get it at 5 o'clock. We get the fresh data. Another model run comes in right around 11 o'clock. So we'll check it out if you want to stay up. Otherwise, get some rest, sleep well, have a peaceful night, and we'll see you.